It's a time for people to get together throughout the whole March Madness concept, and it brings people together from different perspectives, but it brings it also to the workplace. And that's where people have some concern that, are the companies going to lose money because employees are slacking or because they're being distracted from the work they're doing. And unfortunately or fortunately for some employers, March Madness doesn't get checked in at the door. It comes through the door, and it comes to the desk, and it comes to the workplace.
Right. Okay, now there are two ways of looking at this now. The first is in lost productivity. What are some of the numbers that get thrown around in the business world for the next few weeks here when it comes to March Madness and in terms of losses watching the tournament?
There's a company called Challenger Gray and Christmas, who's a world outplacement professional company. They have estimated, this is the 2016 numbers, that about $1.3 billion are going to be lost in slacking employees, and it could be as much as high as $4 billion. But there's been no survey of anyone doing the impact on staff morale for clamping down on workers who participate in the March Madness process. But from an employer perspective, there are many ways to look at it. There's no one best way to look at March Madness and say, okay, we're going to clamp down on electronic devices, or nobody can participate during working hours. You're supposed to be doing your job. Employers need to look at this from a case-by-case basis, and whether or not it fits their employee vision and mission and what they're trying to accomplish. So part of that is an ownership by each employer, by each company, to be able to measure whether or not they want to set up a March Madness room, or they're going to say, no, the HR police or the March Madness police is here. You can't turn off your devices, because people do get together. March is a time for a group of friends to put down their video games and grab the chips and salsa and sit back and watch some of the madness ensue. If you're in the workplace, then you need to do your work, but also do it under the guise of productivity and taking care of business for the company that's paying your cell phone bill to be able to watch March Madness.
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, so that's the other side of the coin, is the team building and camaraderie side of it here. Because these games happen all day long, there is that distraction. But as you said, there are many that are going to embrace this and make it some sort of team building collection.
There's a great article on today's Aztecs by Justin Wiley, staff writer for San Diego Aztecs, that talks about the March tradition and the friendships that ensue and that come from the making of March Madness a tradition among some of the folks that follow March Madness. And it goes to all ages and to all occupations. So some monitoring pointers that come out of the Society of Human Resources Management, it makes sense from a workplace morale perspective for an employer to set parameters for March Madness activity, to remind employees about its existing policies and procedures, but also to provide them an inexpensive way of participating in the March Madness concept and celebration, because it's going to be there whether they try to check it at the door. Now, there are some legal claims that need to be looked at in terms of safety. If employees are doing the March Madness and they're operating a vehicle, obviously that would happen. But it's a morale booster that can be used to help employees enjoy a very significant part of American culture. March Madness is longer than the Super Bowl, longer than the World Series. It is a time to reckon with employees and say, hey, let's balance this together and let's make it a positive atmosphere for everyone.